I hate it when people say, you're a US citizen, so why do you care about what's going on? I'm sorry that I don't think children should be zip-tied at court or that children with cancer should be deported. Sorry that I think that parents should be able to come home to their children without ICE snatching them up at their job. Sorry that I don't want to see families being separated because I see these individuals as human beings past their immigration status. Sorry for having a heart and being an empath.
I'll say this, right? I'm a nobody, but it's like I've been seeing so many people asking Asian creators to speak up about the whole riots in LA and all these deportation things. This is something that a lot of people don't understand. Asian people, we support the country. We support, the betterment of the country. We support that. So what is there to say? What is there to say? We support the deportations of illegals. It is honestly tiring because here's the thing. We want the country to be better. We want the country to be better. We want the country to, if you did it legally, if you stand in line, if you paid the price, right? You paid the money and all that, you did all the process, the paperwork, all the stuff, which usually most Asian people do. Why would we care about someone jumping in line, crossing the border and all this stuff? Why should we, be happy about that?
I don't have a huge following, but I still feel a responsibility to say something. I lived in LA for 4 years now, and what's happening with the ICE raids, the fear, the silence, especially from those within the Asian American community, has been really weighing heavily on my heart. I grew up in Queens, New York around large Latino and Hispanic communities, and I've witnessed firsthand how deeply connected our communities are. A lot of Asian-owned businesses often rely on the labor of undocumented workers, often quietly without any acknowledgement. Now, when the same people are being targeted, the silence is loud. It's painful. We come from immigrant families. We know what fear looks like, and we know what sacrifice looks like. And yet so many of us turn a blind eye when others are being targeted for the very reasons we're here. To those who are affected, I don't know what to say. I am truly sorry. You deserve to feel safe and you deserve to be seen. And to influencers, this moment calls for more than just posts about hidden gems in LA and food spots. If we love the city and its people, we need to show up for them too. If you have the privilege to post about where to shop in LA, then you have the power to say this isn't right. That is not political, that is just being human. I am not trying to call people out just to create noise. I am saying this because I care. This isn't about blame, it's about showing up. Speaking up doesn't require a perfect statement. It's honestly just about heart and showing compassion. And if you have a platform, even a small one like mine, it does matter. Be the voice for those who can't.
Greetings, family. I hope you're doing fantastic, and it's always a pleasure to have you here in my channel. So regarding the ICE raids on Latinos in LA, many people have been asking, where are the Asian communities? Where are they not talking about this whole issue? Why are they not protesting? But now the Asian communities have come out, and some are against the whole thing, where some are supporting it. So this whole thing raises a lot of questions about race, immigration, solidarity, and survival. Let's get to see the whole reaction. Then we come back with a complete analysis about this topic. And if you're new here, kindly consider subscribing so you never miss any update from my videos. Let's dive into it.
As an Asian American, I'm extremely disappointed to see the lack of Asian and Asian American creators speaking out about what's happening with ICE, the deportations, and especially in California. As someone that was born and raised and has lived in California my entire life, I have the extreme privilege and sense of safety that comes with being a natural-born citizen. I'm also Chinese American, and my grandparents immigrated from their respective countries. On my Japanese side, my grandfather put a lot of time and effort and care into building his own business in Washington. When the internment camps started happening, all of his efforts to help support my family, to give them a happy, healthy, safe life, and to give them opportunities, all of those efforts were ultimately disregarded, disrespected, and dehumanized when he was sent to an internment camp. And after the internment camps, he was never given any of that back. He had to work again to build a safe life for my family. The internment camps are a proof of a concept where our Asian communities are not safe. And Trump actually has been targeting Asian communities for deportation, particularly Southeast Asian communities. As Asian Americans, we have a unique perspective on what's going on because our families and our communities have also faced brutalization, have been targeted, we've faced discrimination, we've faced racism, and we know what it's like to be denied opportunity just because of what we look like or where we or our families come from. And if you're like me and you have the privilege to be a natural born citizen, I strongly urge you to use your empathy, your perspective, your experiences in your family, to use your voice to find out how you can support your local communities and keep your eyes and ears open to what's going on. Watch the news, share resources, understand and educate yourself on what to do if you witness an ICE deportation, if ICE ever comes to your house hoping to deport you or one of your family members, and to not fall victim to bystander effect or letting yourself not say anything because it's the easier thing to do. I hope that this can be a wake-up call for my fellow Asian Americans that you cannot be complicit in what's going on right now. What's happening is even if it's not affecting your direct immediate family, is going to affect your community and is affecting your local communities. I'm not even a content creator. I'm not even a small one. I barely even make content. And I know it can be easy to get worried about saying the right thing, doing the right thing, showing up in the right way. But at this point, all that matters is that you're using your voice in some way and raising awareness about what's going on. This is not a political or legal issue. This is a human issue.
Now, I'm seeing this question pop up a lot. Why is the Asian community so quiet on the ICE raid topic? Now, I'm not speaking for all Asian people, but this is just my point of view. My family's from Laos. My parents spent years in refugee camps before being able to come here legally. So a lot of us from a very young age was taught accountability. You know, we were getting lectures after lectures after lectures on doing the right thing. Getting our ass beat for doing wrong things. So there are a lot of Asian people that are for deportations of, illegals. And not everybody, okay? Not all Asian people are for it, but I see most of us are. And we understand why you want to come here illegally and skip the process. People just want to live good lives, do better for themselves. But there is a right way of doing things. So if you do come here illegally and get caught, you need to take accountability for your actions. That's why a lot of times if you see an Asian person get deported, we don't make a big fuss about it because, they got to take accountability for their actions. And they know that. We don't have hate towards law enforcement because, they're just doing their part. They're just doing their jobs because they didn't do their part. And we do feel terrible about, or at least I do feel terrible about, families being ripped apart. But, they know the risk involved and they were willing to take that risk. Again, you got to take accountability. And a lot of people refer Asians as, model immigrants because, we are here to better ourselves, get an education, respect law and order. We just don't want any trouble. We want peaceful lives. And so if we do get in trouble for something that we did, then we own up to it. That's it. So my heart does go out to the families of the deported. Hopefully they can find their way back, hopefully legal, so that they may, live peaceful lives. I wish y'all the best.
I've been hearing about other minorities asking Black people to show up and protest against ICE. Ask the Asians instead. Our shit's already being rocked. The working class ones are going to be targeted by ICE just like the Latino community. Hell, a bunch of us are already being deported and often to the wrong country. And then as for the richer ones, Trump has already banned all Chinese students from coming to the US to study and has banned all international students from coming to Harvard, which affects a whole lot of Asian international students. So anybody who looks Chinese, even if they're a US citizen, is going to be affected by this. He's put several South Asian countries on the travel ban list. So yeah, brown Asians are going to be affected too. Anyway, our voting numbers look very similar to Latinos. Just over half of us voted for Kamala and the rest went for Trump. We couldn't just fucking listen to Black people when they told us to vote for the Black lady who wasn't going to take all our civil rights away. And now we want them to come save our asses when they're getting whooped? Also, have you maybe considered that the feds want Black people to show up to the protests? Because then they have an excuse to escalate the violence. Then they have an excuse to call them riots. We saw what happened with the peaceful protests in 2020 after George Floyd was killed by a policeman. Also, if you've been paying any attention at all, Black people have been showing up to support Latinos who are potentially being deported. Look at all the videos from Compton. Just type Compton in your search bar. So why don't we do this? Why don't we let Black people make their own decisions? Stop expecting them to be your personal avengers. Mobilize the Asians. I know that if I'm in front of a cop at a protest, he's gonna think twice about doing anything to me. He's not gonna give me the same grace as a white person, but he's definitely gonna give me more than he gives a black person. And if you can't go to a protest, just fucking say something, especially if you live in California. Asians, I know there's a lot of you over there. I was born in the Bay Area, so I feel like I should say something. Anyway, yeah, mobilize the Asians. Stay safe out there.
And who said you had to be Latino to be an immigrant? Who said your skin had to be brown or black to be an immigrant? Who made that stereotype? Who made and built that system? On the news, who are we seeing getting raided by ICE? People of color or people who are white? People of color or people who are Asian? In which communities is ICE going to raid? Beverly Hills or Huntington Park? There's literal ICE raids happening outside of elementary schools, outside of high schools, in areas where they know Latino populations live, low-income families live. Why are they assuming that immigrants live in these areas? Because they are stereotyping, they are discriminating people of color, Latino people, because they have built an image that to be an immigrant, you have to be brown, you have to be Latino, you have to be Hispanic, and you live amongst the minority. When I know a lot of immigrants who are actually white, who can be Asian, who can be Russian, but we're not seeing any of that on the news, are we? But we're seeing areas of streets in homes in LA, downtown LA, being raided by ICE. People who are literally sitting outside of their porch getting raided by ICE for being a person of color. This is not just a fight that the Latino community has to stand up against. When we're calling out our so-called influencers, it shouldn't just be the Latino population calling out other Latinos. It should be calling out everybody. To speak up about what's going on about the ICE raids in LA, you do not have to be Hispanic, you do not have to be Latino, you just have to be human. We are all human. We have that all in common. We all have families, we all have jobs, we all love, and we're all living this life. Please speak up about the ICE raids and spread information about what is going on. We're in a time of discrimination and racism that is so bluntly there that it is just inhumane to say that this is the right way to do it.
There are reports that the ICE raids that happened in Los Angeles yesterday are going to continue in Los Angeles for the next 30 days, so everyone needs to be prepared. First off, if you see an ICE raid or you see ICE agents at all trying to detain anyone or knocking on people's doors, depending on what neighborhood of Los Angeles you're in, you need to call one of these numbers immediately so that a rapid response network of people can be deployed to that area in order to stop, block ICE, and help the people that they're trying to detain. Or at the very least, call this main number, which is the ACLU's Rapid Response Network. And for the people in the Asian community, just remember, this goes for all of us as well. And if agents are at your door, whatever you do, do not open the door. And if they say they have a warrant, tell them to show it to you by sliding you a copy under the door. Because if that warrant looks like this, where it states that it's from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, as well as the signatures on the bottom right do not include one, the main first one being from a judge, from a court-ordered judge, then this is not an actionable warrant. Only a warrant that looks like this, that comes from the United States court system, that says that it's a search and seizure warrant, that is signed by an actual court judge, is an actionable warrant. And because they don't have court-ordered actionable warrants like this one, that's the reason why these ICE agents have to revert to trying to get people in public spaces, which is why when they claim that they have a warrant and you open their door, then it kind of allows them to be able to grab you and say that they caught you in public. And remember, if you see something, say something, because we're all in this together. Thank you, and please stay safe.
We're not really, this is the thing where we're not really dependent, Asian people aren't really dependent on, migrant labor, right? Not like other people. We're not really dependent on migrant labor. So we're not going to cry that the U.S. is pretty much backing what they promised. The U.S. promised, or this presidency promised, that they would deport illegal immigrants. They're doing that. Why are you crying? Why are you crying about it? This is the thing where, you see it like these immigrants are waving the flags of other countries, burning down the flag of the U.S., and then you think Asian people want to support that? No, they want to stay away from that. They don't want to be grouped in with these people. That's the thing. Asian people want to, focus on themselves and their community and their country. They don't want to be grouped in with these people. So really, stop asking Asian influencers to speak up about it, because you won't like what they say.
If you can't do that, you do not deserve your platform.
You know what she's talking about. She's talking about the influencers and creators that live in LA and work in LA, but cannot use their platform to talk about what's going on in LA. And she's right. If you cannot use your platform for this circumstance, then what can you use it for then? Like, you built a platform of influence from the ground up. You built a followers base of people that are watching you and listening to you and seeing what you do. If you can't use that platform for this, then what can you use it for? Why aren't you using it to talk about the things that are going on outside of your fucking window, outside of buildings and houses that you frequent, businesses that you frequent? Why aren't you speaking out on it? But we know why you're not saying anything. We know why you don't want to get involved, and it's not because you don't want to be negative. No, no. Or at least I know why. Because I literally had this conversation with a friend of mine who's a pretty big influencer even now. I had this conversation with him a couple of years ago, like 4 years ago during those riots. And I, just like then, same reason now. The reason why you're not speaking out on it is because you're afraid of losing your influence. You're afraid of losing followers. You're afraid of saying the wrong thing and people leaving you. You're afraid of saying something that people don't agree with and those people unfollow you. That's so fucked up. You know that, right?
I don't think this should be an issue of race or color. Whether you're a black person, whether you're Asian, whether you are Latino, whatever that is happening to a Latino today could happen to you tomorrow. You're not immune to that. You know, we all came from different backgrounds and come to the US to look for a better future for our children, just like the way our parents or grandparents did. So when one group is targeted or treated unfairly, it sets a very dangerous example. We may all come from different backgrounds, but all we want the same thing. We want safety, we want freedom, and we want dignity. So let us all stand together. Let us all remain united, because when we are united, we are stronger. Let's stand together and speak for what is right and keep the conversation going, all right? Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. If you found value in what we shared, kindly consider subscribing and turn on notifications so you never miss any update from my videos. Your support truly means a lot, and it helps us keep bringing you more insightful content. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.